Well, hello, listener. This episode of Romance Writers Therapy is brought to you by SimplySpellBoundEdits. Kate and I have both worked with Heather at SimplySpellBoundEdits on multiple manuscripts, and we continue to do so. So if you are looking for an editor, we definitely suggest taking a look at Heather. You can reach her at heather@SimplySpellBoundEdits.com. You can check out her website at SimplySpellBoundEdits.com. Or you can find her on Instagram, which is the way I talk to her the most. So, listener, happy editing, happy writing, and we're on with the show.
All right, I'm recording, you're recording.
I'm recording and you're recording. Mm-hmm.
Yes!
Yeah, we did it.
Affirmation.
We've gotten so good at this.
Right? It's almost like it's a zen when we say this.
I know.
You know, it's like, it's got that vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't have any anxiety over this anymore, so. Listener, how you doing, man? What's happening? If you can't tell already, this is Marty, and that's Kate.
That's Marty.
And
I'm Kate.
If you can't tell, like, allergies have come to Michigan, and this is just the state of my voice. And
this is brand new for Michigan.
This is brand new for Michigan. Except
They've
for
never
it's not.
had this problem before.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the way I sound, and we're just gonna all have to deal with it. Kitty! Sorry, my cat's in here being super cute. He's so
good.
cute.
For once, my cat is not in here. You know, she's all week. She has hounded me and been like, "Why aren't you paying attention to me every second of the workday?" I'm like, "I'm goofing off."
Goofing off. Go mind
the answer
yours.
is I'm working. Yeah, go mind. Like, what? Don't you have things to do, madame? I saw like a huge bug wandering around in the hallway. Like, are you gonna get that?
You are disregarding your responsibilities.
She is.
Lydia.
What are they called? They're not centipedes, but they're like big and long and they're hairy. And
Oy, did you burn your house down?
yeah, it's in the process. No, I saw it this morning. It was so big. It was like the size of a scrunchie.
I don't like that.
Like a little scrunchie, not a big floofy scrunchie.
We need to put a content warning on this one, like 2 minutes in. If you're freaked out about bugs, go on.
I'm freaked out about bugs, and I went into the guest bathroom to do my business because Austin was in the main bathroom, and he does this to me on purpose now. I think. No, it just sucks that our digestive systems have synced up in this way.
That's hilarious.
So I'm in that bathroom, and I look at the bathtub, which I really wanted a bathtub when we bought the house, but like we have not touched this thing because like it's just got this cursed energy on it.
Oh no.
You know, like the tub itself is fine, I think. It's just kind of beige. The tile around it is suspect.
Okay, gotcha.
It may just be like a regrout kind of thing and then pretend that washes away all sins.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it makes something look new and it's so
crawly
nice.
Thing. Yeah, crawly thing in the tub.
No,
and
my gusta.
He started running around in the tub, and I'm just like, you better not come up here. Like, I need to finish my whole thing. Like, everything I'm doing, and...
I am not in a position for you to be involved, okay?
Like, I'm so vulnerable here.
Dude, is there nothing... Like, there's nothing more vulnerable than that state.
No. And, like, I watch him start to, like, ascend up the tub side, and then he falls in. And I'm like, good, you're trapped. But then it's like, I went back, like, a half hour later. I don't know why it took me so long to go back and be like, let me deal with you, sir. And he's gone. And I'm like, this is I have to accept my fate.
That is horrifying. Aside from terrifying bugs, anything else?
I don't want to start our finale episode with this energy. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, listeners. Sorry. We will miss you, I swear. We're not trying to make you, like, run away from us. They're like, we're done with you.
Right? Like, oh, yeah, this is the last episode I'll ever listen to.
So, Kate, what's happening in your world, dude?
What is happening in my world? This Friday I'm gonna fly to Tennessee and go to my first book event, and
that's so exciting.
I need to get a bunch of things done before that happens. I'm trying not to feel the nerves about it, but I'm nerve about it.
Yeah.
And we shall see how that goes, and
we shall see
what we learn from it.
I remember there was at least one segment of Golden Angel's Just a Tip on TikTok where she talked about like how she gets prepared for conventions. Did you watch that yet?
No, but I will watch that.
It was old, but it was there. I do remember. She like showed her suitcase and like stuff like that.
I'm just Googling it because I'm like, I don't have any faith in my ability to scroll back far enough in TikTok and remember what I was there for.
Yeah, but I'm also curious what you're going to get with Just the Tip convention in Google.
I mean, all her stuff popped up because I put her name first.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
I did put Golden Angel at the beginning of this search, not just the tip.
Convention, no less. But yeah, okay, so you're getting ready for your first in person.
I'm getting ready for that. It's Tuesday. I got to go into the office tomorrow to do stuff, so I'm not going to be able to like think about it and sit here in dread. And then Thursday, that happens after the Wednesday, I actually invited a friend over during the workday, so now I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing to like my time schedule here. And then I was also like, you know what, I have to edit one more episode to like be scheduled while I'm away.
Yeah.
And like I need to do that ahead of time. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm also going to do Marty's book cover right now.
Are you going to get actual work done at any point?
What? I don't have a job. No, I do.
No, I do.
Every day I do like 1 to 2 things to be like, I did something.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious. And like when I'm in the office, I do some actual work, and I actually get writing done at the office too. So like it all works out. Don't question my methods.
Don't question the system.
Don't trust it. I just produce results. Don't question my methods.
But yeah, so I am working on my edits for Accidentally Under Your Tree.
Yes.
Getting that thing ready to be published on November 13th. I did officially change the order date or the release date. Listener, it was scheduled for November 6th, but since this year is an election year and the election day is November 5th, I kind of thought maybe I'd take a little time away.
I think a week should be enough time,
yeah.
You know, I think...
And I'm really happy with the changes I'm making to the book. All the characters are getting more fleshed out, and I think the pacing has really benefited from like adding a couple scenes, and I have like a secret kiss scene happening, and I'm really excited about that one. So
like it's like you have to read between the lines and be like, oh, is this when these 2 background characters?
No, it's like I'm adding because I was like, you know, we're not getting all the fun of, like, Lizzie helping them with their fake dating. Listener, if you don't know, Accidentally Under Your Tree is Lizzie and Will. Lizzie is sisters with Rose. Rose and Will are best friends. And they're pretending to be in a relationship while Lizzie and Will are actually falling in love. And so, like, they're on the wrong side of a fake relationship. So I felt like I wasn't getting the benefits. Lizzie helping with that fake relationship. And so I added a Christmas party in to also like intensify all the weirdness between Rose and her ex-boyfriend, Lawrence. And so I'm planning on Lizzie and Will like fighting themselves like face to face in like the coat room, and then like tucking behind some coats and having a quick make out. So
Aww.
I know.
And then someone comes in and puts another coat on top of them.
Kinda. I'm not sure exactly how it's gonna go, but like, yeah, we'll see.
This finale episode, this was also, I want to preface, mostly Marty's idea.
Yeah, but one of us came more prepared than the other, and it wasn't me. So
yeah, wild switcheroo.
Kate's like, this doesn't happen to me very often.
Like, I can't believe this one time I did my homework. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because I came up with this. Okay, so I came up with this idea very quickly, and then I had one idea pop into my head, like, and then nothing else ever came to me. And so I was
like, the first idea is that we are gonna look at each other's like author career paths and be like, this is what I want you to do next, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like, this is what like...
If I could control the next 6 months of your schedule, this is what I would do. I feel like what I'm about to say for what I would do for your schedule is going to be in conflict with what you would say for mine.
Well, I mean, we shall see. I think we also wanted to contrast what we see for each other from the outside with what we're internally planning for ourselves on the inside, you know, like we've done, I think, so much focus this season of the pod that we like just on the business aspect of things. I think in previous like seasons we've like really focused on like craft and writing and like the art side of it, which, and I do want to like get back to that. I feel like just personally very drained in that area of my life. But I know, I think I keep telling you that this is what it was, is that I binge watched all of Game of Thrones with Austin.
Yeah.
And I think it broke something in my soul a little bit.
Oh,
no. This was the first and only time I've seen the entire series in its fullness. In, you know, not spread over years. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine binging that, how dark it would go. Because you would eventually just get... dark. Like, you would just get so numb to, like, all the, like, atrocities.
Well, and, like... There's definitely, like, a few moments that I've remembered from attempts to watch this show in the past that I was like, I know I don't like this scene and that this has made me stop watching the show before. So you tell me when it's coming up and then we will fast forward through it. So, like, I did actually take out the darkest parts that, like, I knew I didn't enjoy.
Yeah. My cousin, she and her husband, like, watched Game of Thrones, right? And her husband was watching it, and this was like seriously this summer. You guys were watching it like in tandem. And her husband was watching it, and she like happened to be in the room, and she's like, the first episode I ever saw was the Red Wedding. And I'm like, how did you continue watching it? Like, oh my gosh, I skipped that one. Like, I've just heard things and I would rather not.
Yeah, no, there's the amount of like really, I don't know if it's realistic, obviously, but like just really agonizing screaming work that they do on that show is like, oh, I can't even like close my eyes and say you watch it.
Yeah, like,
exactly. No, we have like, to skip it, or you have to watch it on mute because like.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's still like a full sensory. Experience.
Okay, so.
Okay.
You frame this as like a 6-month thing. So like, what's the overview of your like 6-month plan? You kind of divided it pre-phone call about like between like the business side of things and like your writing schedule of things.
You mean like, so what do I have planned right now in the next 6 months?
What you know, like you don't have to give me the beat by beat, but like I would like to know the general aimings of this plan, the goals, you know?
Yeah, in the next 6 months, I want to finish Remy and Alicia's book and possibly, my plan is to release it in June. So that's my writing goal. And my business goal, it is to remain consistent in a plan. I want to publish every 9 to 12 months was my plan, but we'll see how writing works out as far as like, I might have a 6-month publish, right? We'll see.
Ooh, all right.
And then to kind of simplify my efforts, I know that I have a tendency to hear something that sounds interesting. Something that's great about me is I'm not scared of change. I'm really comfortable with trying things, right? But that also means that I switch gears faster than I should. So I'm not able to see outcome in any one direction because I'm moving in so many different directions. So in the next 6 months, my goal is to focus and like simplify. I don't know, maybe try to post 3 times a week on social media. But every time I do that, I'm like, this is just not where I find any of my joy. So I don't know. We'll see. I have a couple different things that I'm hoping will help me with that. And that's kind of my goal. Does that make sense? Or do I have to explain any further?
I think I kind of understand what you mean by like you want to focus on like the idea that if you commit to an idea, but then you don't stick around with the idea long enough to see the results, that would, you know, like you kind of look at it like, I'm not getting immediate results, so I'm going to abandon this.
Yeah. Well, and it's really easy for me to see something else that looks interesting.
Yeah. No, I get that. And like, I want to try the new thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's incredible to me that I can, because I've seen this pattern in myself when it comes to writing. So I have gotten to the point where it's like, that idea is super fun and interesting, but like, dance with the book you came with, right? Like, finish this manuscript before moving on, right? And so like, I've had to become single focused in that way in order to get books done.
But you've also talked about how you felt like other projects have fallen off of the way, like such as like the sequel to Truth or Dare, or I think you said you've put a pin in, you just said their names.
Remy and Alicia.
They're Remy and Alicia's story, you know, instead of finishing that one up.
Well, and I felt comfortable putting a pin in it because, for one thing, I felt like I did need space from the manuscript. And also, I knew I had enough manuscript that I can step back to that and I can fix the story. It's not stepping back into the first quarter of a story that has problems. It is stepping into full book that has problems. So it should be like, I knew when I stepped away from it, like, I will come back to this and like, it won't be the worst thing to come back to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was like a new thing I've allowed myself to do, putting a pin in it, and I don't regret that choice right now. We'll see how I feel when I step back to it. So
I found it's part of my method that I give things a lot of breathing room between working on that. There's a lot of like little problems that you can like really get bogged down on, I think. And when you step away and come back, you can kind of forget what they were. And it gives you the fresh, ability to like read the thing with new eyes and then say, okay, I didn't notice that thing this time around. So maybe it's not the problem I thought it was,
And I think also like letting it rest will like allow clarity where there was indecision, right?
Yes, exactly. Do you want me to go ahead and tell you what my goals are for you? Or do you want me to tell you about my writing goals which way do we want to take this?
I don't know. What way do you think is best?
I asked
Listeners,
you
what
first.
way do you think is best? We're already bringing you into this part of the conversation. So I think it's more interesting to hear what your goals are for the next 6 months. I'm more interested in that right now.
Okay. So I think I've maybe mentioned it a little bit before that I have, or maybe I haven't mentioned it on the pod. I feel like I talk about this all the time in our critique group. I have 2 stories involving orcs and the size difference trope. One has already been in an anthology and unpublished because the anthology, is done.
So.
I got the rights back. And the second one is about to head into an anthology. So I'm going to not have the rights for 3 months on that. And then I'm going to get them back sometime next year or early next year. Maybe Q2. I think it's usually like 3 months, these things. Because it's a Christmas anthology.
I would think it's probably 3 months then.
Yeah, no, I've never really been in a very long charity anthology. They're usually pretty short. But it's always good to like check the terms on these things, especially if you have plans to republish the story that goes into them. And because they're short stories, I feel kind of weird about like publishing them on their own. And I also don't really want to spend, like, I guess you can throw short stories into KU and let people have them. I'm in the middle of writing a 3rd short story, and that kind of goes with these things. They're all set in the same world, so they're all kind of, characters overlap a little bit, the setting overlaps. And I'm going to release these 3 short stories as a collection sometime next year. I'm thinking like March.
That makes sense.
Question mark.
Yeah.
I'm
depending on when you get this other one back.
April. So I'm also like sitting on it, like they are all kind of Christmas themed. So I'm kind of like, maybe I want to sit on that, but I also want to release something early next year. Yeah. So I'm also kind of on this idea of like, well, I have so much of Kathy's book, already put together. Not put together. I have a lot of word count that just kind of needs to be neatened up, put a plot in it, structured together, kind of change a few details here and there. And then it's going to seem like it's all one cohesive story when originally it was not.
That's why I love editing.
Yeah, no, this is the hard part of the process for me because I'm like, none of these things are related to one another. But I'm also like, I think, because I've spent so much time watching Game of Thrones and really inundated in like, when I consume any media, I am looking at the plot structure. Like that is, like, I don't even look at the story sometimes. I'm just like, where are all these things leading? How are they piling up? And like with specifically Game of Thrones, that's a lot of fun to do because, or
it's so many interconnected stories.
Seasons. It is, and to like see things finally unfold and like the interconnectedness and how all these different seemingly unrelated things are affecting each other is a lot of fun. Like just in a storytelling mechanical sense. However, these are not the romance plot beats necessarily. So I feel like I've kind of lost my grip on what makes a romance, like what are the plot beats of a romance.
Okay.
And I kind of want, I feel like I'm getting back into my feel for it, but I was taken out of it for a little bit.
Well, so, and like we were saying, we talked about this elsewhere, that like sometimes when you take on stories that kind of take themselves very seriously, you can start devaluing like the things that don't.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like
and not to say that romance doesn't take itself seriously, but mine doesn't. Right? Like there's plenty of romance.
There's the prioritization of, you know, the moments that make you laugh, the things that make you fall in love with another person in a story is very unique to romance. Like you don't get a whole bunch of it in other genres. It feels like, because I think we live in this society really
devalues joy
by overvaluing like really heavy topics, you know. Yeah. Putting like intellectual things can only be grim and sad, you know. Happiness is seen as naive and childish.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know? And like there's an element of sexism there. It's not like the whole thing, but like it's there that it's like, oh well, women like romance because like they like frilly silly things.
Exactly. And I think that it's like
the devaluing of that.
It's not the whole thing, but it does. We need to call it out, right? Like there's no way we can have this conversation without also pointing out like the patriarchy in the room.
Yeah, no, it's such a big, complicated, and I think kind of like it's a very big knotty problem. I don't want to say that. It's a very big interconnected mess of a problem.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of like internal work to like to catch yourself in these habits of like devaluing joy and silliness. And like just all the other it's so big. But anyway, so that I'm back on that kind of the Sisyphean task of doing the internal work.
Yeah. Keep pushing that boulder up the hill, man.
Oh my god. Where was I? So
okay, you're telling me your 6-month plan and how you
reacquaint myself with the romance beats, the things I love about romance. I want to publish Kathy's story early next year. And when I say early, I mean anytime in the first half.
Okay. Are you thinking either Kathy's book or the collection?
Either. I think if I decide that I want to hold off on the collection, because I do want to revamp the third story in it. And finish writing the first story in it. Like that's just the order that they're going in. Because I'm not the third story I wrote while I was in that like weird mental headspace, and I feel like it doesn't lean into romance tropes as much as I want it to. Not even just the tropes. I want it to lean into the feelings of enjoy, like other people. I think really the root of romance is other people and what it means to love another person, what it means to find admiration and respect, all those good things, enjoyment in other people.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's very heavy on one character's personal growth arc, and I kind of feel like that takes away from what it means to find joy in another person, which is what I want the plot to be about. Sorry, I'm going in circles.
I like that. No, I like that.
Yeah, so I might hold off and publish those at Christmas time next year, which is a full year from now instead of 6 months, but you know. And then my other plan is I want to finish Logan's book and put it at, like, I want it to also publish maybe next October, which is, again, a year from now. And that, I think, may be the biggest and hardest task. I'm not really ready to buckle down and work through his story right now.
Okay.
Even though I've got, like, a lot of, like, half-written scenes on that one, too, except they follow more of a continuous plot, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
There's no plot changing up in that one. It's already there.
So we're really putting Logan at the second half of the year. So we're focusing on the collection and Kathy in the first 6 months, right?
I mean, one of those two, and then Logan's book, because I do think I need to work on that earlier in the year and get it done earlier in the year, so that like it can go through the editing process enough times.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. But it would be like you'd be like starting to really focus on it in like March or April.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And like hopefully have it finished by like June, July.
I like the plan.
Yeah, I think that's about the same timeline I had for Sean's book.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's the my whole plan.
Okay.
Grand as it is. Like just in writing, like I have other vague goals that I've kind of had on my desk for quite a while, like open a bank account for business stuff and get a credit card for business stuff so that like I can sort money better. Do taxes easier?
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah, big move.
But it's all stuff that it's like, I'll do that eventually.
Yeah.
Like watch another year go by and it doesn't happen.
So I guess if I were to be giving you a goal, it would be organizing like your business structure, right?
Is that the only thing you wrote down for me?
What? No, that's not the one. That's not the one. I just came up with the second one. So.
Oh, it's number 2. Okay.
It's number 2. Do you want to know what my only other one is?
I mean, if you want to expand on it or if you want to...
No, I think that...
Give me the other one.
The goal for you to structure, like, your business, you have expressed anxiety about the fact that you haven't taken time to do this. And I think that it would help you. I also think that you might find more areas of growth if you had everything laid out a little more clearly for you. And I think that would be really cool. I don't know how to elaborate any further on it.
I mean, get your shit together is valid as a statement and something I routinely tell myself.
We've talked also about like paid newsletter promos and that I have had success with them. So I would also see you take advantage of that sort of marketing. And I know it's something that you haven't done before.
It is something that I've like looked at a lot. I've heard a lot about from you. Yeah. That I keep going, I'm going to dip my toe into that eventually.
And like the barrier of entry is very low on some of these. And then also your effort is super low as well. And then when you have your book in there, it's really easy to resubmit it for like a newsletter promo. I would definitely suggest that. It has worked for me to do some of these. And like, you know, $30 later, you have a newsletter blast that actually is effective. So at least it has been for me, listener. I can't speak for anyone else's experience, but
I mean, I imagine like these things have such huge infrastructure as they do because people find them so successful.
Yeah. Well, and like not all of them are created the same. I've tried a couple different ones, but I think also like make sure your blurb's tight, make sure your cover's tight. Like, but if you're hitting your intended market, like they're going to gravitate towards you because you've done those 2 marketing things correctly. Okay, apparently I have another, and you know what? I don't know why I ever try planning anything because I come up with things like in the moment and that's all the way my brain works. The other thing I would embrace for you is embracing your backlist. And
that is something
like,
you need to do.
Yeah, like focusing on marketing your backlist. I think that there's so many readers out there and you haven't reached them all with like any of your one books, right? So that would be another suggestion I'd have for you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What I've got for you. I think some of it's the same as the advice you gave me. Some of it's a little bit different.
Okay.
First one is kind of the embrace your backlist kind of thing. You have had a lot of newsletter freebies, to my knowledge. You've written a lot of short stories that you've used as newsletter freebies and lost leaders and all that sort of stuff. And I wonder if you're doing like if they are all available currently for people to read, you know?
They are to my newsletter.
I feel like
But yeah,
they are in your newsletter. I feel like you should only have like maybe 1 or 2 lost leaders at a time. I don't know if 2 is even too much.
I think it depends on how big an author you are, but like at my state, I don't know. There's one more that I'm thinking like, could I move that to a retailer and see what happens, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, so I think you could at like very bare minimum, and because you haven't done a lot of embracing KU before, I would love to see you put these stories in KU and use them as your experiment to like see if this platform is more receptive to these short stories, if, you know, make them do something for you, you know, instead of, not saying you shouldn't have freebies, but I don't think all of them should be free. And I don't think you should just forget about them.
Yeah.
Just because they're short and they don't have like maybe some of them have Canva covers, I believe, like All Roads to Carter.
All Roads to Carter has a Canva cover, and so does one of the freebies I have is Cap Spats and Mistletoe or whatever. Anyway, also all Hayes and Elijah Don't Get Caught is a Canva cover as well, and I've thought to ask you to make covers for them, but I'm like, she's got things going, leave her alone. So their cover status is a couple different things of like me not wanting to bother you because you're my friend, not sure if I want to move them to a retailer, or like I want to move the freebie Christmas book I have as it's a short story to a retailer, but there's more I want to add to it, and I haven't factored that into my schedule at all.
No,
right. No, I already have Accidentally Under Your Tree coming out this year. It might be something I would do next year. I'm also planning on having another Christmas story coming out next year. So it's like I do use it as like I'm marketing it as a freebie right now on BookFunnel, and leading people into Accidentally Under Your Tree through them reading that. Even though it's not an interconnected world, it is still like the same theme. And so that's how I'm using it. But I see your point. This is not me disregarding your point. This is me.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So then the second thing I've got for you is make stickers and bookmarks out of the art assets you do have.
Yeah.
You could even make stickers out of quotes from your books. And this is packaged with like, set up your Etsy. You have to like, even if it's not an Etsy, if it's something else, like I want to see that happen so that you can get into the area of, you know, selling signed books. And I think it's something that I see very consistently in my area, like local area. There's this coffee shop called Rook, and they have a bunch of different types of merchandise. And the thing that I see the most is literally everyone in my area has the Rook coffee bumper sticker magnet. You know?
That's like us in Golden Harvest. It's a diner here that has like the coolest like logo of a skull, and the crossbones are a knife and a fork. And so you see that anywhere, and everyone knows Golden Harvest. It doesn't even have words. It's just their logo.
Yeah. Well, so that's guerrilla marketing. Like these things, like even though it's someone buying a product from you, it is also doing marketing for you. Mm-hmm. You know, it may be a very minimal kind of way to do marketing, but it does a lot of things, and I think it would be very useful. I know it's like it takes time to sit down and do it. I would be more than willing to like put a couple hours aside for a day and be like, hey, let's just get this done, you know?
We should definitely, I will do your business structure and you do this for me. Like we should just
yes. Oh my god, we did talk about doing that.
We did, yeah, because like I feel out of my depth in that area. And then like I was looking at my Etsy and like, shoot, I need a banner and like stuff like that. And I was like,
I made you a banner.
You made me a banner?
It's in Canva. Yeah, forever ago.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you so much.
It's there. I'm gonna pull up Canva and download it and send it to you.
I fucking love you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm the worst.
No, you're fine.
I think you're absolutely right that the Etsy has to happen. And I was thinking like, even if I just got it up there and just got my signed copies started, then at least that is started, right? Like at least that is available, and the readers that want a signed copy can do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's not a constant thing that like it happens so often that I need to take care of orders that like it's, you know, it feels like it's too much every day, you know. It is. Yeah. It really is like a thing that just kind of sits on the back burner and occasionally dings.
Okay, cool. So like the amount of effort it demands from you is still low.
It's very low.
Okay,
I would say maybe like once a week. Not even every week.
I mean, man, that's like really good though.
Yeah,
have, like an order coming through once a week.
Like not every week, but like some weeks it's like 2 or 3 orders happen at once, and then like it's worth it to me to have it. You know, I would. And the thing is, I don't even do any like promotion for my Etsy at all. I don't like tell people I have it. Like it's just there, and people find it.
I absolutely love this goal, and I have it written down.
I got a couple more.
Okay.
So then I have revamp your website.
I've been thinking that too, especially considering... Okay, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're like, I know.
I know, me too. I want to do that for me too. Especially considering how many books I have. You kind of have to scroll quite a bit to get through them all. And so having those better organized, I think, would be a really good way to do it.
Yeah, I think your website might be as old as our friendship, just about. I think
just about.
We made your website.
Yeah,
like a few months into knowing each other.
It's older than, I think we met in like May, and then we did my website in like December. It's older than our podcast.
It's also definitely. It's also maybe like the second or third website I ever did. So it's not like. No, it needs the... I've redone my website 2 or 3 times at this point. It does not look the same as... So, yeah, we can update it. Like, I know it's, like, not representative of your full collection right now, but it was there. It's been there. Oh, you're good. You're good. Also, your bookmark designs are there.
I know. I remembered those. Yeah, I remember that those existed.
Okay, so revamping your website. I've definitely revamped mine a couple of times since. So yours is now, I think, overdue.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. We're going to make it happen. We're going to sit down. We're going to do your Etsy, and then we're going to do your website.
Okay.
This is just me planning our play dates. The other two, last 2 ideas, they're kind of the same idea, though. It's revisit Bandit Together. I want, like, either you reread it and just reread it, or you send it to Heather for a dev edit and get her ideas on it. I think, like, either way, like, getting some movement on it.
Okay.
See what you can do with it is... I know it might be too much to, like, fully add it to your plate, but I think it may also be, like, one of those things that, you know, it's sat still for so long. You know, it's the pile of laundry on your chair that, like... you've been ignoring, you know, it's like, it just looms over you in your head. And then it's like, oh, all I needed to do was put it in the wash. It's fine. You know, I think sometimes they do that.
That's fair. I wanted to make a goal about Handle with Claire for you, but I was like, well, like, it's like, you're not writing a contemporary romance. So I was like, okay, well, I'll let her stay focused on like what she's working on right now. But I also would love to see Handle with Claire getting attention.
I do have a idea of what I want to do with Handle with Claire. I want to make it more paranormal and monstery. You know, I do want that to happen.
Okay.
I've like really played around with it. I think because it has such a deal with the devil kind of like trope baked into it from like the contemporary aspect. I think I just need to lean into that a little more, and it won't take much overhaul, but there is a subplot that is about like romance books itself. It's a little bit meta, and that's why my meta shit.
I know. It's always surprised me that plot was in there because of how you feel about meta stuff. I also think that Saltwater Heart should get attention as well. And like, it really wouldn't take much for that to fit.
See, I do just sometimes think about, what if I just threw it out the window and let it, like, published it on its own? Like, it fits my brand.
I think you should, dude. Just throw it out there.
It's a full book.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's definitely at least one flaw in it that I remember that is valid to me as, like, a criticism for it.
Okay.
And it's that, like, her father in the book is this, like, built-up figure as, like, the arc with her father is not satisfying, and it feels kind of flimsy. Okay. And I think it's one of those things that either I need to take it out or I need to strengthen it. And strengthening it would be more difficult, I think.
That's fair.
But at the same time, I think the book might be stronger for having it there. I don't know. It's been a while since I read it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe instead of you reading it, like, send it to me or other betas and get their opinions.
I mean, I could do the same thing that, like, I'm suggesting you and just be like, hey, Heather, how about a dev edit on this? Or, like, the closest, absolutely. She doesn't offer dev edits. She offers something very similar to
manuscript evaluation.
And my last thing was the sequel to Truth or Dare. I know you didn't want to bring it up, but, like, it's on the list because it's kind of in the same category as Banded Together. That's all my stuff.
Yeah, I don't dislike that plan. It kind of depends on how things shake out. At this point, my concern is I don't want to deviate from this Grand Ridge Veterinary Clinic series without finishing it any more than I already have in creating a Christmas series, right? So like right now, I wouldn't go back because I want to do Truth or Dare's sequel and I want to do Just Fake Married sequel, but I am concerned that I'll keep on with this pattern of not finishing series if I don't just finish these series. Does that make sense?
Feel that? If you feel like you won't finish your current series if you take the time to go back and finish this one. Also, I think like maybe because your plan with it was like 2 or 3 books, right?
It was 4, but they were all supposed to be
4
short.
books total.
But I also don't see how they fit my brand as well either anymore. Like I hadn't figured out what I wanted to write at that point. And they're set in Chicago, so it's not even Michigan. And they're not small town, which is definitely where I'm focusing right now. There's also like a mystery element too that isn't like my brand at all. And so there's like a couple elements to it that's like if I finish that series, it would be like kind of a vanity project. It would just be something I did because I wanted to finish that series.
I think it's okay to let it go then, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I'll keep it on the back burner. It's been sitting there for years at this point, so like it's having a good old time back there. So I have one more goal for you that totally deviates from everything you and I have both said.
Oh my God. All right.
And it is to do the scripted podcast.
Scripted. Oh my God. I've totally forgot about that.
I have not.
The idea for this? I vaguely remember we were going to like do I didn't want to commit to a whole other show as well.
Yeah. So we had come up with the idea of just doing like a 4-episode plot and then to kind of like get our toes wet, learn our stuff on it. And then if we wanted to, we could then do like a 6 to 8 episode and actually release that, but keep the 4-episode plot as like a Patreon. Was like it's what we discussed. I don't know if you agreed to it, but it was my thoughts. So because listener, if you haven't listened to Old Gods of Appalachia, it's this incredible podcast that's scripted and it's a fiction anthology podcast. Viewer discretion is advised. It's very like PG-13 typically, but sometimes it gets a bit more graphic, especially in those first couple seasons. Man, it's so good. It is so good, and the readers are incredible. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, God, I just want this so badly for romance. And so I told Kate this, and in my head, I was like, I want Kate to do this. And then she was like, oh my God, I would totally do that. And I was like, thank God, because I really want you to do it. and then my enthusiasm continued.
Your enthusiasm. Well, we've been doing our other projects.
We are doing lots of projects. I know. Like I said, like my goal is to be focused, but I'm like, well, if Kate said she'd do that over the next 6 months, I would like fuck everything else. So that would be
everything else
my goal. Because I think it'd be really cool.
We'll put a pin in it.
We'll put a pin in it?
We'll put a pin in it.
Okay. We still have the Google Drive that I made.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I have not forgotten, Kate. So.
All right. Very strategy heavy finale.
Yeah.
I think they're usually a little gigglier because we're reading our scraps and stuff.
They are. I also like, I don't know. I kind of thought that we really didn't poke any fun at each other at all. Like it was very much like, this is what I would do with an actual head on my shoulders and not just like being silly goosey.
I mean, like if you want the silly goose options.
I want silly goose options.
I didn't prepare silly goose options. I was like, all right, do things.
How funny would it be if I had like a whole list of silly goose things and you just came in? You're lucky God. I didn't actually plan ahead at all. You would have come off so mean.
Like, I'm just here to tear up your shit.
Exactly.
Tell you to focus.
You're a mess, Marty. Let's go. But no, I think that, like you said, it's definitely not as giggly as our normal, like, season finale. But, like, it's an interesting concept to kind of bounce even these ideas off of your friends that are in the same boat and can see things a little bit differently than you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like we all can kind of get tunnel vision on our things.
Yeah.
Things. God, what a wonderful word.
Agendas.
It's so hard to like, I mean, so like there's things that when you don't want to do them, or like it seems like they might be a little bit difficult or outside of what you're normally know you're capable of, it can be like those things I think kind of fall off the mental radar a little easier because like we're kind of pushing them.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's fair. All
right. Do you have writing advice for the listener for the long dark winter to keep them warm while we're gone? Because we're gonna go on hiatus.
Don't let your friends forget to do the silly shit with you. So
don't devalue the joy if that's a value in your writing. You know,
I like that.
Hold on to your core tenets of like what you want your
writing
stories to feel like you're writing to do, and not in just like an author brand kind of way, but like in the parts that bring you joy in the writing, the parts that are going to attract, like they do attract the readership. You don't need to like focus on it for that, but it will.
I like that a lot because like there's this question of like, what do you want your readers to feel when they read you? And I think it's a really important question to ask yourself and have an answer to. I was listening to someone who writes, like Sasha Black. She has a series that she's writing, sapphic fantasy books. And she was saying that like she wants her readers to feel like absolute anguish. Like just gutted. And like she's doing great, guys. She's doing absolutely spectacular.
These books are gut punches.
Yeah, exactly. Like she really wants to leave a huge like impression, like people to like get done reading and feel like they've just been wrung through, right? And that is a completely different reading experience to like what I want for my readers, where I want my readers to like feel like they want to kick their feet and like giggle, right? And like and just like not take anything too seriously as they're reading my books. And both of these experiences are completely valid, and they're both in the romance sphere. Right? Like, I think that that's a really good question. Good writing advice. Where can they find you, Kate?
All right, listener. Yeah, where can they find me? If you see a bunch of Rook Coffee stickers, I'm probably not far. You can find me at By Kate Pryor at Threads, Instagram. I'm on Facebook at Kate's Priory of Paranormal Romance, I believe it's called. I know it's a mouthful. You can also just get there by my main Facebook page, Kate Pryor. And you can sign up for my newsletter at kate-pryor.com. And Marty, where can they find your pre-order?
Oh, you can find my pre-order. Right now it's going to be in KU. So you can go to Amazon and find it through searching my name or searching accidentally under your tree. I have to put it on my website because I just realized like yesterday I haven't done that yet. So there's that. But you can go to my website at martyv.com. You can find me at Marty V Author on Insta and TikTok, and my link tree does have the link to the pre-order. So you can do all those things. And that's Kate and me, your listener.
All right. Awesome. Bye, listener.
Bye, listener. Bye. Are you doing your thing? Are you being weird?